Hello.
Hey,
Hi. Can you please introduce yourself?
yes, my name is Joy Fong, and I am of Chinese descent, but originally from Taiwan. And I am Noelle Fong's mother.
So, what is the food that we will be talking about today?
Okay, the food we will be talking about today is dumpling. As Westerners call them, but in my native language, they're called jiaozi.
Do you have any special fun facts, tidbits about jiaozi, like when it's eaten, or like how you cook it, or anything like that?
Yes, I guess I can say that um, what I learned is that most of the time is like a celebration food or a labor of love kind of food because, as Noel know, but jiaozi is a pretty labor intensive process to make. Not only does it involve a pretty complicated stuffing, but you can buy your wrapping, but you can also make your wrapping, which makes the process even longer. Typically, we labor over, for saying like a family of four, it could labor over like 3, 4 hours to do like a couple hundred of them. And that is not a lot because in one setting, a lot of us can eat 15 to 20. So if you times that by, four people, or um, when we're celebrating Chinese New Year, which is typically shared with the big family, then that is going to be even more people. So definitely a lot of prep work, but it also gives the time for families to all come together and do wrapping and eating together. So, and normally for me, for our family, we eat them during Chinese New Year's time. That is typically, or my first memories of when we typically eat them, because that's when you have more time, you have more family gathering, and you definitely have more family around. So
Do you have any specific food stories or special memories with jiaozi?
I think I'm hoping that this will pass down to Noelle and her brother as well. But my first memories of jiaozi is definitely when we were celebrating Chinese New Year's together. Adults of the family starting to let us um, get in with the action. So I was taught how to wrap the dumplings. The first few was a mess, but it was definitely it felt very special. And then I just associated the memory of Jiaozi with Chinese New Year a lot. It's only, and I remember the story being told is that this Chinese New Year had a legend of like a Chinese New Year's monster who comes down and into the village to haunt all the villagers back in the old days. Way to chase away the monster is not only to wear red clothing or put like Chinese writing in red papers and to light the firecrackers, but also part of the process of making jiaozi is to chop up the meat. All the meat chopping sound will scare off the monster. So that is one of the legend that are legend or story that's typically shared during the Chinese New Year time when we're wrapping the dumplings. And so that sort of memory is ingrained in my mind, and I just associated that with a lot of good time, a lot of good food, a lot of good family.
A little background on jiaozi. It can be cooked different ways, am I correct?
Yes.
I think it's steamed, pan fried, and then boiled.
Boil for sure, yes.
Um, so do you have a specific preference in which way, or is there a specific time where you typically go for one cooking method or another? And
Um, sure. Let me see. I think a lot of restaurants that will do dumplings and they actually deep fry them. And that makes the whole thing very, very crispy, which I don't personally like. So I think when we're doing it during Chinese New Year time, I definitely boil them first. The first round is always when it's the freshest. Boiling makes it taste really good. And what other people known these as the pot stickers are the pan fry ones are typically like if you think about it, the first day you boil 300 dumplings and you have leftovers. The second day you don't reboil them. I mean, so typically we pan fry them. So that's when it becomes the pot stickers. And then when you're stuffing, when the stuffing inside your dumpling is really delicate, like vegetables, or some people put in fish. These are not really traditional stuffing, but they definitely can be done when they're really delicate. You know how boiling sort of make the the water sort of hit the dumplings whichever way when the stuffing is really delicate, then we sometimes steam them. I personally prefer the boiled ones the most, but different stuffings or different time where you can do different things with these stuffings. So it's very versatile, if you ask me.
you consider jiaozi or dumplings to be a very healthy food in our culture? And like if you do, why? If you don't, why not?
Personally, it's relatively healthy. One of the thing about the stuffing of these jiaozi is you obviously can portion it however you want. As in, you can. I think the normal portion maybe half of the meat, half of the veggie, but you can increase the veggie. So even kids will be full to eating more veggie sometimes because they actually taste like meat, but you can pack in a lot more veggie. And the stuffing is, I mean, not the stuffing, the wrapping is actually pretty thin. So the carb that you consume is relatively little. And then if you're thinking about sugar intake, it's not that much. So it's definitely a good, healthy option so long as you don't eat too much. So I think because this is a more traditional food, as with most traditional food, they're typically healthier.
Yes. Thank you for your time in taking this interview and sharing jiaozi and the stories and legends and cooking methods and everything behind it. And yes, thank you.